Good morning. I can't wait to answer these questions this morning. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. I had a wine tasting last night that was really interesting. Over 30 different Bordeaux wines from the 2005 vintage. It was really good. Okay, so let's get started. This first question is from Ahmed. How can I raise capital up to buy a business? I need a mentor to guide me to raise up capital for business investments. Now, Ahmed, wouldn't it be great if it was just that easy? You sent a question into AO and said, I need money. And then all of a sudden, money just poured in out of heaven. All the mentors and all the people that work at AO said, let's help Ahmed. So, Ahmed, here's an idea. Get a business plan that makes sense, that returns the investor his money and gives him earnings on that money, okay? But this question is, I just have to tell you in the nicest way, this question is not acceptable. And you just have to have a better framed question, okay, than how do I get money? So anyway, rethink this, submit it again, and we can answer it better for you, okay? Next question from Quade. Hey, Quade, I just got off the phone with you. Are side hustles a distraction? So Quade has a construction business. He specializes in kitchens, baths, and other remodeling. And he's in Canada, and he's trying to build his business. And he asked, are side hustles a distraction? Well, absolutely they are. You know, it's like Bill Gates said, you know, spend 90 hours a week on your job, work weekends, no vacations, and focus 100% of your efforts on one idea. And, you know, if you want to talk to somebody about that, talk to Joe Nugent. You know, he's really growing his business now that it's more focused as opposed to 3 different businesses. Okay? Next, again from Quade. How do you balance honesty and giving out too much information? Okay? So there's no balance to honesty. It is either true or it isn't. There's no balance to honesty. Now, there is wordsmithing, you know. You can come home at night and say to your partner, honey, when I look into your eyes, time stands still. Or you can come home to your partner and say, honey, your face would stop a clock. Sort of the same message, but delivered in a different way. And so there is a big difference between a lightning bolt and a lightning bug. But if you say them real fast, they sound alike, but the impact is different. And so wordsmithing is really what you're looking for, Quade. You need to frame the answers to questions that prospects and clients ask in the most positive way possible. But there's no, that's interesting. There is no honesty in giving out too much information. You know, honesty is a bright line. Too much information, I agree. Sometimes you can give out more information than is needed. And I think when you first start, everybody has that. They have the nervous habit of talking too much, etc. But, you know, we'll work on that, and everybody should work on that. Wordsmithing. Let's learn how to deliver the message in the best possible way. That's good communication, and that's sales. Okay? Next question is from Jenny. She says, what takes priority in spending wisely for growth in sales starting out as a full-time business owner? So Jenny has I'll just read it. Growing yin yoga and sound healing business with limited funds. So anyway, Jenny, the first thing you have to do is be able to pay your bills. And you're probably going to be able to do that with the work that you're doing individually. And so I want you to continue to do that. And then as you make more than you need to live, you need to decide how to reinvest it into your business. Some automation is helpful because it makes you more productive. And remember, you're the only and first employee. And then you can begin spending money on things that will drive business to you. I don't know about Groupon, but everybody that I've talked to about Groupon says that it brings you in people that are shopping for price, and it doesn't build long-term customers. I think part of that is the fault of the person who is delivering the service, because if you have a chance to pitch them on your service and you have a chance to show them your service at a discount the first time, they should be willing to pay more for it the second. But I don't know anything about a Groupon personally. You ask about Facebook or social media advertising. It can be very effective. Social media advertising has worked for lots of people. If it isn't working for you, perhaps it's not the advertising, but where you're placing the advertising. And then finally, if you really want to grow your business, especially in the corporate area, you just got to get on the phone. And you got to get on the phone and call people. And Kimberly Vincent is a member of the tribe, and you could reach out to her and talk to her about what she's doing to grow her massage business, both from an individual service standpoint and from a corporate service standpoint. So I hope that helps, but you're just going to have to get on the phone and sell somebody. By the way, email marketing, Jenny, if you don't have an email database and you're not sending out emails to thousands, hundreds of thousands of people a month, then you're missing a bet, because that has been proven effective over and over again. Okay? So the next question is from Yeethus Johnson. At what point in the sales process is it best to disclose how much you charge for your services? Okay? So there is something called a price buildup, and there's also something called cost versus benefit analysis. So every prospect, no matter what you're selling, says, does the cost justify the benefits? And so in communication theory and in sales theory, it is best to present the benefits before you present the cost. So you wouldn't go into somebody and say, Mike, I've got something for you, it's $5. This is what it is. Because then they focus on the $5 and not the product or service that you're selling, right? And anyway, so I would be always selling the benefits before I give the price. And if they ask me the price inappropriately, say, I'm going to get to the price in just a minute. I'm glad you're sitting down though. Or, I'm going to get to the price in just a minute. Let me assure you that if you like the product, you can afford it. Or, I'm going to get to the price in a minute. I promise you, we're going to make you a tailor-made suit for a hand-me-down price. But first, I got to get your measurements and find out about your business and how our product fits. So those are all good ways to defer the cost question when it comes too early in the sales process. And you can learn more about those in Pro Code Sales, and everybody in the AO has access to Pro Code Sales, so you should be watching those. Okay, if you don't know how to do it, ask Sean or someone else in AO. Next, Joe Nugent. I just mentioned your name. Joe owns a home inspection company. It's a really good one in Florida. If you're looking for a job or you know somebody that needs a job, send them to Florida. Joe will put you to work. Okay. How do I figure out how I can pay someone for a sales position that is salary plus commission? So Joe, that's a really good question, and maybe we should jump on a call for a more detailed answer, and be glad to. But anyway, you have to figure out the return on your investment in the salesperson. So look at it in a simplistic way. I pay $100,000 a year for a salesperson. I've got to get $100,000 in profit back plus something to justify my return on the investment. And so there's something in sales called CAC, cost of acquiring a customer. CAC, cost of acquiring a customer. And so every business needs to figure out what their CAC is. What is the cost of acquiring a customer? And some of you are too young in the growth of your company to worry much about that. But Joe, if you're going to hire a salesperson, then you've got to figure out what you are going to pay to acquire a customer, and then you know how much to pay the salesperson. Now, maybe I could go further. So let's say you hire somebody for a $40,000 salary, then that and a commission. Then that means that the jobs they generate for you have to generate at least $40,000 in profit, not revenue. And then if you pay them a commission, the commission has to generate, the sales they make has to generate enough to pay for that commission as well. Okay? call me if you have a question. Okay, next. Let's see. This is from Allison. Hey, Allison, that's a new client of mine. And Allison says, how do you get leads to call or email you back about scheduling a call to discuss their need and how you can help them? So Allison has a digital marketing company and she's in Hawaii. But to answer on a simplistic level, you identify the prospects that you want to reach out to. Then you develop a phone script and you call them. You develop email scripts so that you have a cadence and you send those. And the combination of those two things will create prospect clients that you can then get revenue from. That's at a simplistic level. Now, we're all looking for an easy way. And I will tell you, if you're under 40 and most of the people in AOR, then you're really looking for an easy way. You don't want to get on the phone and talk to anybody as a general rule. You don't want to have to face rejection as a general rule. And you don't want to work 90 hours a week as a general rule. But all of those things are going to be necessary for you to be successful. I just don't know anybody that has been successful in any other way. You just have to put in the time and effort, and then you're going to have to get on the phone. You're going to have to get on the phone after they're a customer if you sign them up electronically, and you're going to have to get on the phone before they're a customer if you're not signing them up electronically, e-commerce I'm talking about. So anyway, Allison, we'll get into more detail about that, but you know, it's a sales system sheet that I sent you, okay? Next, Carrington. Hey, Carrington. What is the best way to learn how to answer objections in a confident manner? She has a commercial photography business, and when talking to prospective clients, she wants to know a good way to increase confidence and learn answers to questions or objections that won't lead to more questions. So in ProCode sales, there are lots of answers to objections. And what you're going to find as an entrepreneur is that most of the objections are the same. If you're watching this video, for example, you know that whatever you're selling, your product, some people say, I'm not interested. Some people say, that costs too much. Some people say, talk to somebody else. Some people say, let me think about it. Some people say, the timing is not good. Some people say, call me back next year. You know, the objections are the same. We've all heard the same objections. There's no magic in the objections. So I always think about children when they're being taught at the highest level to play chess. They are taught what all the moves are, and then they are taught what the response should be. And certainly we're a lot smarter than those small children. And we certainly can work to get our responses memorized just like their responses are memorized. So, for example, I'm not interested. Bill, I can understand that. I think most people feel that way when they first hear about it. However, what they found is they just don't have enough information to know whether they'd be interested or not. As I mentioned, I'm just trying to set up a brief call to introduce myself and our company. Would you have some time on Tuesday, say 9 or 11? Okay, you've got to know it that well. You've got to be able to say it that confidently, right? I'm happy with my current photographer. Bill, I can certainly understand that. I think most people are relatively happy with the people that they're using. However, what they've found is that they want a backup plan in these crazy times, or they want somebody on deck. And frankly, some of them just want to check out the price. It'll take about 15 minutes. Would you have some time on Wednesday afternoon, say 1 or 3? You've got to know the answers that well, and they've got to come out like that. Because when you're answering objections, you have to be confident, enthusiastic, and the force of what you're saying has to outweigh what the prospect is saying, okay? Next, what are ways or key points when organizing, prepping for the upcoming year? This is again from Carrington, okay? So Carrington, if you're using QuickBooks in your business, there'll be a budgeting function. Just go in there and fill out that budget function. It makes it easy. You just fill in the lines. And then once you have your budget, you can adjust the budget based on revenue. And guess what revenue is? Sales. And the more sales you make, the more expenses that you can add into your budget. But everybody watching this and everybody in AO should do a budget. And if Sean, if you're watching this, you should do a Zoom with anybody that will explain the budgeting process, an accountant or bookkeeper or CPA, and teach everybody in AO how to do a budget, because Carrington's right, now's the time of the year to do a budget, and that is the best way to plan for the next year, okay? Next is from Kimberly Vincent, the outstanding, dynamic, enthusiastic, good-looking, witty, and intelligent Kimberly Vincent from Canada, okay? She says, how can I reach more prospects in a quicker time frame? Okay, so Kimberly has a business that sells massage therapy to corporations. She also has a solo practice, that's not exactly the right term. She also has a practice where people can come in individually and get a massage unrelated to the corporate program. And Dan helped her with the corporate program, and it is fantastic. But and some of you should look at her model. It may apply to your business. But she's calling on HR directors to let them know she can provide both virtual and real massages for people in the workplace. And so that's the service she's selling, and she wants to reach more HR directors. Well, the one way is to get email, obviously. Another way to reach more HR directors is spend more time on the phone. Another way to reach more HR directors is to hire a business development representative who does nothing but call and set up appointments 40 hours a week. There are a lot of ways to see more people. All of them are painful. But remember, there are two brothers that follow each other everywhere. See more and sell more. And these two brothers are inseparable. And you know, as a teacher, I keep trying to think, how can I teach better the law of averages? And I hear people say, it's a numbers game. It doesn't really make the point. It is a numbers game, but what does that really mean? It means the more people that you tell your story to, the more chances you have to sell. And so every morning when you get up, if you're the chief sales officer for your company, you should be asking yourself, how do I see or talk to more people? How do I see or talk to more people? So that's the best and highest use of your time. And remember, there's people time and paper time. People time is 8 to 5. Paper time is before 8, after 5, and on the weekends, okay? You know? So if you're in AO, I hope you brought your work boots, because you're going to hear everybody in AO tell you, you got to put in the time. And if you want a good book to read on that subject, it's a study about time on the job and some other things too. It's called Outliers. And the author tries to figure out why people are so wildly successful outside the line of other people's normal success. And one of the things he finds out is that they put in 10,000 hours towards their craft before they really became an expert, you know? Think about Howard Schultz, Starbucks coffee. 17 years he had the coffee business, and he only had 3 coffee shops. And if you go online and look at them, they are not like the Starbucks we see now, fancy dancy. They were coffee shops, just coffee shops, you know, on a street front where you walked in and you sat down and had a cup of coffee. 17 years. And then he had a breakthrough. And of course, we all know the story. And in 2019, Forbes magazine said Howard Schultz was one of the 400 richest people in America. So put in the time, put in the time. So that's all my questions this morning, guys, and I appreciate the time I get to spend with you, and I appreciate you sending in the questions. I wish I had more questions, and if you get a question during the week, write it down and send it in, and we'll get you an answer, okay? So thanks very much, and I'll see you next month.